Last time, I showed you why most tennis players think they're hitting topspin, but aren't. Today, I'll walk you through the exact drills that I use with my students to build real game-changing spin. First, it's really critical to understand why we're doing this. What's the point? In case you don't know how big of a deal topspin is, check out the image on the screen right now. In red is a relatively flat shot, and in blue is a shot with more topspin. Topspin, if the ball was traveling in this direction, would be turning this way, and that rotation creates a high pressure pocket of air over the top of the ball, which pushes it downwards. And what that means for you as a competitive tennis player, practically speaking, is you can aim higher over the top of the net and still have the ball land inside the bounds of the court. Without topspin, there's going to be a natural limit to how hard you can hit the ball before it starts traveling too far, even if you aim really low over the top of the net, which isn't a good idea anyway, because it makes it much more likely that you're going to make a mistake. The key to making the ball rotate in that direction ultimately lies in the direction the racket is traveling, right at the instant that the ball touches the strings. Remember our magic phrase from the last video, the face sends it, the path bends it. So in the image that you're looking at on the screen right now, the green arrow represents the path of the racket. This racket is accelerating upwards when the ball touches the strings, and the red arrow represents the direction the strings are facing. So this combination of an upward path and a forward racket face will hit a ball that travels forwards and rotates end over end. The steeper that green arrow is and the faster the racket travels on that steep path, the faster the ball will spin forward and the more the ball will curve for safety so you can hit it harder without missing. Here's a tennis player that came to work with me just recently because she was struggling to create any significant topspin on her forehand. She could hit the ball really hard. You can see she's a great athlete, but she was spraying the ball all over the place and beating herself because she couldn't keep it in play, which is confusing because it looks like she's hitting topspin, but we need to dive a little bit deeper to see why it's not actually turning enough. At first glance, it looks like this player should be making tons of spin. She's getting the racket low, she's bending her knees, she's swinging low to high, she's finishing with the racket up over her shoulder. These are all the things that we're told should make topspin, right? But what really matters is what direction the racket is traveling at this instant that the ball touches the strings. If we draw a little circle right where she makes contact with the ball and go back in time a little bit to where she starts accelerating the racket towards the ball, all of a sudden this looks really level, doesn't it? From the bottom of her acceleration to the point of contact, the racket's not actually traveling vertically very much at all. This drop she has back here is actually kind of a false drop because her racket slows down and she's just kind of preparing for the real swing of going forward towards the ball. When she actually starts accelerating and pulling the racket forward, the middle of her strings is here. And if we measure that angle from contact to the bottom of her drop, you'll see that it's actually not much at all. The ball is technically rolling forwards with this much low to high, but it's not nearly the low to high is what it looks like and what it feels like to this student. With all the bending and all the dropping and all the finishing over the shoulder, it's still not enough because the bottom line is the racket is swinging mostly forward at the point of contact and not very steeply at all. Here's what's needed for topspin. This is a 4-5 player I worked with recently. He's hitting the ball here. Notice how the racket is really blurry all the way through here, which means he's actively accelerating the racket all through this entire path. And so he starts his acceleration from this low point down here up towards the point of contact. When we connect those two dots, the bottom of the swing and contact, we can see that he's accelerating upwards at a 25-degree incline, more than double that first student we looked at, which means he's going to make more than double the spin, more than double the curve, more than double the safety while continuing to hit the ball just as hard, if not harder, than that first player. That's super, super important. I'm going to show you the drills that you can copy that I used to triple the amount of topspin that this player was creating in just a sec. But first, I just want you to reflect on this, and I want to hammer home this concept really, really deeply. If you're bending your knees, you're dropping your racket, you're finishing over your shoulder, maybe you're doing, windshield wiper moves, you still might not be hitting enough topspin. And I hope I've really uncovered that to you. And I want to just ask you directly right now, even though it might feel like you're hitting topspin, do you think you are? What's your honest thoughts? Do you think you're really hitting enough topspin for your goals, for your acceleration, for how offensive you want to be? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'd just love to know where you're at in your development, in your tennis journey right now. Okay, here's the step-by-step drills. You can do this on your local courts just with a pocket full of balls. Don't need a ball machine or a hitting partner or a coach or anybody else. The first step is called the wall drill because I'm putting my student right in front of the net, and that's how I recommend you practice it. And I just want you to imagine a tennis ball right at the net tape, and we're imagining making contact with a ball right at that height. And I'm calling this the wall drill because I want you to imagine that there's like a physical wall right here. Obviously the net is an actual physical barrier, but I want you to even imagine that it extends up beyond the top of the net and we can't break through that wall. And that's what I told my student originally, but I want you to look at how in real life she would be hitting her racket against the imaginary wall here. She's so used to her racket traveling through the point of contact that she just can't help herself. So after watching her racket break through the wall a couple of times, I was like, okay, hold on a second. I went over to the other side of the net and I presented another physical barrier here. And I said, please don't hit my racket. And I want her to continue feeling this exaggerated upward slope, imagining that she physically can't go through the point of contact. Please don't let the simplicity of this, or maybe you're gonna feel like silly on the court. Just do it in your living room. Like use the back of your couch or use like a literal wall in your living room if you think you're gonna feel dumb doing this on a tennis court. This is all about breaking you out of your normal habit, your normal swing patterns, and forcing you to do something different way on the other end of the spectrum so that you can start to retrain and recalibrate your swing path to actually make enough spin. In drill 2, I've moved her back off the net just by one step so that she can visually still see this obstacle in her way. And I want her to continue to visualize as if there is a full wall in front of her and visualize her racket traveling straight up the front of that wall without making contact with it. And I'm encouraging her to use that exact same path while actually hitting the ball. So you can do this by yourself by just taking a ball out of your pocket, drop it in front of you. I highly recommend doing a couple of shadow swings first. And this is, you can see here, that was her first ever hit like this. And I was like, okay, just stop a second and look, because the ball made a huge curve, a big dip. She hit it up and then it curved and dipped back down. So watch for the ball physically turning forwards. Watch for a big arc, a big curve in the path of the ball. And you're also going to see me here, right here, point to my ears. You should also be listening for a clicking sound. I kind of hate the word brush because it's been overused so much. It doesn't really mean anything anymore at this point. That clicking sound is from when the ball touches the strings and the racket is accelerating vertically really fast. The ball grabs the strings, they slide out of their normal notch, and then when the ball leaves the strings, they snap back into place. Listen for that, watch for the curve, and feel for that sensation of the racket traveling aggressively vertically past the back of the ball. In drill 3, I'm having my student go back to the service line, and now she's gonna hit some tennis balls that are being tossed to her. You could totally just drop the ball to yourself. I want you to look at how different the path of her racket looks now. I'm encouraging her to continue to visualize the wall in front of her. I'm also encouraging her to listen for the sound that contact makes. Watch for the curve, watch for the spin of the ball. And if we do a quick angle analysis on one of these now, you'll see it's completely different. Here's where she made contact with this one. Look at the, I mean, you can see it like right off the bat. Look at how the racket is actually accelerating vertically now. It's not a fake drop. She's actually fully accelerating the racket in an upward slope all the way from down in this position after doing this quick drill. When we connect those dots and measure the angle, you can see we've literally tripled how steeply she's accelerating up towards the ball, which means we have tripled the amount of topspin, tripled the amount of curve, tripled the amount of safety. And if you go to your local court with just a couple of balls and replicate these same drills, I promise you're going to see the same results. I can't wait to hear about how it works for you. And in addition to that, if you'd like to add power to this swing, I'm going to link to a video right up here that shows step-by-step how you can copy the best parts of Carlos Alcaraz's forehand for big, athletic, smooth power. Check out that lesson. Keep up the great work on your game, and I'll talk to you in the next lesson. Take care.